For 6 years, the Valley of the Kings yielded nothing but sand. Then, in November 1922, a small hole revealed a chamber piled with over 5,000 artifacts, chariots, statues, and gold stacked haphazardly in a space the size of a school bus. Lord Carnarvon, the British aristocrat who funded the search, lived to see the tomb opened, but little else. 5 months later, he died in a Cairo hotel after a mosquito bite became severely infected, leading to blood poisoning. The timing triggered an immediate wave of alarm. Within months, a lead excavator fell into a mysterious coma, and an American financier who visited the site died of a sudden fever. Even the radiologist who x-rayed the mummy succumbed to illness shortly after leaving Egypt. What began as an archaeological triumph was being re-examined as a series of unexplained deaths. The narrative was shifting away from the discovery of a king and toward a cold case involving an ancient, invisible killer. The evidence presented to the public centered on a single hieroglyphic warning reported across the front pages of international newspapers. It promised that death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs the peace of the king. The theory gained mainstream credibility when Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the creator of Sherlock Holmes, told reporters that the deaths were likely the work of elementals, supernatural guards placed by Egyptian priests to strike down intruders. While the public focused on ghosts, the physical environment of the tomb offered a different possibility. Cracking the seal on a chamber dormant for 32 centuries released an atmosphere thick with microscopic, ancient biological matter. In 1962, Dr. Ezzeddin Taha of Cairo University proposed that these sealed tombs were essentially perfect incubators. He found that a high percentage of modern museum workers handling these artifacts were carrying chronic infections caught from ancient biological remnants. Taha identified a specific pathogen, Aspergillus niger. This toxic mold survives for thousands of years in dark, dry conditions and causes severe respiratory illness, and in extreme cases, death, when inhaled by humans. This microscopic threat intersected perfectly with Lord Carnarvon's physical history. A decade before the discovery, a near-fatal car accident had left his lungs severely compromised and susceptible to infection. The first victim died from a combination of ancient biological preservation and personal physical frailty. He was the most vulnerable person in the room, breathing in a toxic cocktail of fungal spores that his body was unable to process. Biology explains the first death, but the legend of the curse relied on that specific written warning carved into the stone. To find its source, researchers had to look at the excavation's primary records. Howard Carter was obsessive about detail. For 17 years, he cataloged every object and every inch of the tomb's walls with surgical precision. Modern Egyptologists have since confirmed a glaring discrepancy. In all of Carter's exhaustive journals and photographs, there is no record of the "swift wings" inscription appearing anywhere inside the tomb. The quote was a loose, sensationalized interpretation of generic funerary spells found in other tombs. A tabloid journalist looking for a way to capitalize on the fever surrounding Carnarvon's death polished the wording to sound more threatening and printed it as a factual discovery. The absolute foundation of the modern curse myth was a product of yellow journalism. It was a headline designed to sell newspapers, not an archaeological find. To see if the other deaths were actually unusual, Australian researcher Mark Nelson conducted a statistical study in 2002. He tracked the lifespans of everyone present during the major stages of the tomb's opening. Data revealed those who entered the tomb lived to an average age of 70, compared to those in Egypt who never entered. The life expectancy for both groups was identical. Entering the site had no measurable impact on lifespan. The wave of deaths was a result of confirmation bias. The media selectively reported on anyone who died of pneumonia or a fever, while ignoring survivors like Howard Carter, who spent more time in the tomb than anyone and lived to the age of 64. We grouped unrelated natural events into a pattern to satisfy our desire for a mystery. The deaths weren't the result of a spell. They were ordinary occurrences given weight by a compelling story. Today, the search for truth in KV62 continues, but with a different set of tools. Modern researchers handle the artifacts with gloves and wear masks to respect the biology of the chamber rather than its ghosts. CT scans of the mummy have replaced the myths with a medical profile. Tutankhamun was a fragile teenager, suffering from a broken leg and a severe case of malaria. This human reality is masked by the serene, immortal face of his golden death mask, a pristine image hiding the vulnerable boy beneath. The curse myth survived because we have a deep hunger for ancient magic in a world that is increasingly measured and explained. We used the story to grant the past a power we felt we had lost. By inventing a curse, we rescued a forgotten king from obscurity.